Here we are, Go Math, lesson 4.6, and I'm talking about using a unit rate in order to solve a word problem. Or I can compare unit rates, taking my unit rate and using that to compare to equivalent ratio or non-equivalent ratios, determining whether or not they are in fact equivalent. So what do I mean by that? Well, we know that a ratio is comparing two numbers by division. We know that a unit rate is when I can get down to one thing, especially if I'm comparing two items, right? Such as one shirt for $5. If my ratio is 4 to 20, I know that it's 1 per 5, or something like that, right? Or 5 per 1. So during migration, a hummingbird can fly 210 miles in 7 hours. A goose can fly 165 miles in 3 hours. Which bird flies at a faster rate? Well, what I can do here is I would take and set up two ratios. So I have the hummingbird and I have the goose. And my hummingbird can fly 210 miles. These are miles and these are hours in 7 hours. And a goose can fly, I'll do miles and hours, 165 miles in 3 hours. So now I want to take each of these down to a unit rate, and a unit rate by definition is 1. So if I'm taking those and I want to get it to 1 hour, how fast does it go per hour? So then I can compare it, just like the speed in our car, right? I go 70 miles per hour. So if I'm going from here, 7 to 1, obviously I'm going to divide by 7. And if I'm dividing the bottom by 7, I divide the top by 7, because whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. Whatever I do to the top, I do to the bottom. 210 divided by 7, well, 7 goes into 21 3 times with 0 over it. So a hummingbird flying 210 miles in 7 hours has a unit rate of 30 miles per hour. 30 miles per hour. Okay, we've got one down. We need to do the other one, right? So I look at my goose, and I make an equivalent ratio, so I can get my unit rate. How do I go from 3 to 1? Well, obviously I divide by 3. So the hardest part of this problem so far has been 210 divided by 7, and what is about to be 165 divided by 3, because again, whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top, and vice versa. 165 divided by 3. I'm going to go ahead and write that out. What are 65 divided by 3? 3 goes into 16 5 times. I have 1 left over, bring down my 5. 3 goes into 15 5 times. Close it out here so that I know I end on 0. 165 divided by 3 is 55. So the goose flies 55 miles per hour. So which one flies faster? Well, we know the hummingbird flaps its wings faster, but in fact the goose flies faster because 30 miles per hour is less than 55 miles per hour. So you can see by taking it down to a unit rate of 1, I can actually solve that value in comparison. So let's try just one more, shall we? All right, so if I'm going through here and I am, for example, at the grocery store, excuse me, and I have a 64-ounce bottle of apple juice costing $5.76, but a 15-ounce bottle of apple juice costs $1.80, which item costs less per ounce? This is actually a pastime of mine when I'm in the grocery store. I like to look at things and compare the deals, and you can actually save a lot of money that way. So a 64-ounce bottle, well, we know we have ounces, and we're comparing money in ounces, so 64 ounce is $5.76, and a 15-ounce bottle is $1.80 per 15 ounces. It's very important that we keep ounces on one level and we keep money on the other. Now, realistically, would it matter if ounces were up top and money were at the bottom? It would not. As long as ounces were on one level and dollars are on one level, we can solve this problem. That's really what's important here. So I need 576 divided by 64, actually 5 7600ths, divided by 64. 64 goes into 576. Let's try 9 times. And I would find 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 6 is 54 plus 3, 57. So I'm going to go 0.09, and I would get 576. When I subtract them, I know that this is 9 cents per ounce. 9 cents per ounce. All right, so if I come over here and I have 180 or $1.80 divided by 15 ounces, because every fraction is essentially a division problem. We know that, right? 15 goes into 18 one time. Bring down the 0 and put up my decimal. Add in a little extra decimal in there. Add my decimal and I find 2 times 30 cents up. This is 12 cents per ounce. So in this case, what's the better buy? It's what most people would think it would be. It's the larger value. It's the 64 ounce, because you're only gonna pay 9 cents an ounce on that one versus the 15 ounce bottle where you're paying 12 cents an ounce. So you can see where we can take a large number and we do use equivalent fractions. We compare it down to 1, so we can find our unit rate per 1 ounce, per mile, 1 mile in an hour. And from there, we can see which one is the greater value.